Let's talk about mine, America's UConn Huskies, Dan.
Okay.
9-4 a year ago. You're over under 7.5 this year. Jim Mora has done a really good job. That's why he got a contract extension through 2028.
Definitely.
They beat North Carolina, I want to say, in the bowl game last year.
Yep.
It's a pretty exciting situation for these guys. Like, they've got a 7th-year quarterback now.
Yep.
The pride and joy of Williamsport, Pennsylvania, which I inadvertently demeaned, I guess, a year ago on a show. We got hate mail for that one.
It's okay.
Joe Fagnano is the quarterback. Very good last season. 20 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. This is going to be an offense led by a ground assault. They've got a very, very good running back room. Cam Edwards, Mel Brown, they've got transfers that they're stacking in there as well. But you factor in what they can do on the ground with what I think they can do through the air, which has a legit NFL prospect in Skyler Bell out wide. I think this will be a very, very interesting team to chart moving forward. Also, that doesn't even mention Alex Honig, who is number 39 maybe on Bruce's Freaks list.
Okay.
The tight end, originally from Germany, originally a quarterback, originally at TCU, now at UConn playing tight end.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll be pretty stout on offense. And defensively, this is a secondary that should be pretty good. Got some questions about what they can do up front. Not as much back on defense as there is on offense. But I think you look at this team this year, you look at what they've done now under Jim Mora. I think you look at the quarterback who's been around the block forever, 7th-year guy. There's a lot to like here. There's a lot to be entertained about with respect to UConn, especially with the schedule, Dan, which is something that you found.
They get, well, so they were competitive with the ACC teams they played last year. They get, I believe, this year, both Duke and Boston College a week after each of those teams plays Clemson.
Yeah.
And I don't know what they're doing in terms of winning those games. But if your starting point is experience, confidence, solid coaching, and they lost a good amount in the portal, quality guys in the portal, but still return a lot of guys or enough guys that you can build around, and bringing in potentially quality dudes from smaller schools to sort of enter into a newly winning culture. You can jump on somebody with that combination, with that formula. And so UConn is interesting. They should be, if this keeps carrying through, a perennial bowl team, which is kind of crazy to say given some of the recent lows of UConn. But it's a great, I don't know what act number this is for Jim Mora, 2nd, 3rd, 4th act. He's clearly a quality coach. Like, this is a very difficult job, especially when if you discover and develop somebody at UConn, it's probably not staying at UConn terribly long. It's just too valuable in the modern college football universe. And he's actually been like very forthright and has said a lot of interesting things, very human things about how like he doesn't hold it against his players when they look around. It's just the sport, and it's, you know, the coach's job to sort of be honest with them and to put them in a position to succeed and, you know, hopefully help them live out their football dreams. So UConn's a quality situation right now. They were very good on defense last year, but they lost a lot of those contributors. And his defensive coordinator hire was very good last year. I think they were great at generating 3 and outs. They were great on 3rd down specifically. And so it's just going to be an annual thing for UConn to sort of to recruit William and Mary, to recruit Georgetown, right? That they're just going to have to go after guys at smaller schools or well-traveled guys who've been at 3 schools in 3 years and figure that their culture and their system will work better for those guys looking for a home. So I think it's a great story of what's happening in UConn. They just need to jump up and win one of those games against an ACC type team. Because there's a lot of wins on this schedule to me.
There are a couple games on this schedule that are, I think, bigger picture interesting for people who might be listening at home and have no other interest in UConn football. There's a game early, week 2, on the road at Syracuse, which I think could be a very competitive matchup.
Oh, yeah.
It was competitive.
It's another
last
situational
year.
spot, right?
Yeah, because Syracuse opens up the year that neutral siter against Tennessee. And then they come back home. They're squaring off against UConn, which I think will be hungry to prove itself. This was a competitive game a year ago. And especially as we're looking at UConn, a team that I think can run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
a team that at least can guard against the pass. I don't know about their defensive front. You could see a situation in which that is interesting, right?
Yeah.
So that's one. I look at Boston College. I look at a home matchup against Duke in November. Those are games that are very important for this UConn school.
Agree.
I'm just curious to see what ends up in a game like that. Like, even they're on the road against Taquan Roberson, used to be their quarterback, against Buffalo, your Buffalo Bulls.
Of course.
At the end of September, another big game on September the 27th. Maybe not the headliner, far from it.
Speak for yourself.
These are really important games for UConn school that I think feels like it's got a pretty high ceiling this year. I don't know what that means in context in college football. They're one of just two independents at this point. I got to believe, based on a lot of what we have seen over the last 2 years or so, UConn wants to jump up. They want to get into the Big 12. They want to get into the ACC. They're upping up their NIL spend. They're trying to double it each year, or at least improve upon it year in and year out. They are actively in conversations about what they can do with the stadium, maybe to expand it all the way up to 60,000 people. This is a program that seems to want to do more with that football side. Clearly, UConn's been a basketball school forever.
Yeah.
They're very successful in their own right there. But one of the more intriguing stories to follow moving forward. Like,
totally agree.
They want to keep Mora around. They are having conversations, maybe with the Big 12, maybe with the ACC.
There were Pac-12 conversations before as like a
Pac-12,
football-only situation. Yeah.
Like, they're very much dipping their toes in that water.
Yep.
And they want to see what they can get. So the over-under is 7.5. I remember being down on UConn last year, and UConn won 9 games. I look at the schedule. I kind of feel similarly to last year, where it's like, I don't see it. I'm going to go over. I'm going to go over because I believe in Jim Mora and I believe in the broader UConn project.
Oh, the broader UConn project.
The broader UConn project.
And remember, if nothing else, there's always a basketball coach on campus who at some point will eat somebody's face off. And we can all
put him on the defensive line,
we
man.
can all live in suspense.
Lower center of gravity, but
yeah,
definitely has that type of fight that you want from your defensive line.
Sure. Yeah.
Danny Hurley.
They've got the wild card and Danny Hurley on campus. Yeah.